Welcome to the ATMAE 2018 Accreditation Visit Prep video. I just want to start with a thank you for your willingness to attend our ATMAE accreditation meeting because your participation is critical to the success of the visit. This presentation is for both industry advisory board members and students. And I just want to remind you again that the date is Monday, March 19th from 12 to 1. Dial-in will be sent out for the non-campus students and advisory board members the week before. And if you're attending in person, the Center for Business 106 is our location. So let's get started. The purpose of this video presentation is just really to give you an understanding of what that 12 to 1 meeting with our accreditation team will be like. We'll go over 6 big buckets of information. What accreditation is, who ATMAE is, what some terminology is that you might need to know, what your role is, what you can expect during the meeting, and then any other procedural things we need to discuss. So let's get started. Number 1, what is accreditation? I want to thank Jacob Cotty, one of our students, because he helped me prepare this slide. I had it prepared, and for all of you that know me, I had a very lofty, hard to understand definition, and Jacob helped me make it more simple. So for those of you who are still either A, on the fence of truly understanding what accreditation is, or maybe you're a student and you're like, I have no idea what this is what accreditation is. It is a process where we're encouraged and recognized to attain a certain level of professional goals and standards that allow us to be continually better. I think accreditation in a nutshell is really a third-party audit. It is important because it requires us, faculty, to make sure that students, you, are learning the things that industry wants you to learn so you can get a job. It often includes having external validation through an advisory board. It often includes requiring getting feedback from students. It often includes having to make sure you have objectives for the program that are being taught in the class. So really, accreditation is really 2 things. It's continuous improvement, and it is validated by an external entity other than ourselves. So it's like a third-party audit. Who is our accrediting institution? It's an association called ATMAE. They're the Association of Technical Management and Applied Engineering. ATMAE specializes in accreditation for technical management programs and applied engineering programs. And operations management is an applied technology program. You have to have a 2-year technical degree before you even qualify for the program. And then we give you 2 years of management. So we fit in that applied technology part. The primary purpose of ATMAE is they want to recognize the attainment of certain goals, standards of technology, and continuous improvement. One tip for the meeting is you probably should know who the accrediting body is. It's ATMAE. And that's short for Association for Technical Management and Applied Engineering. So now you know what accreditation is. It's continuous improvement and validation by a third-party institution. And who is accrediting us is ATMAE, the Association for Technical Management and Applied Engineering. Here's 4 terms that you may or may not need to know. One is external validation. That means that our accreditation is based on outcomes, and we go to industry and have them validate whether we're teaching the right things at the right level so you as a student are marketable when you want to get a job or get promoted in your current job. And we get external validation 3 ways throughout the program. We do employer surveys, alumni surveys, and then we have an advisory board that meets face-to-face via telepresence twice a year. We also get validation a 4th way, but that's more indirect. We always do an exit survey with our students. General outcomes are really what we're validating. That's what we're being assessed on. And general outcomes are really what we want our graduates to be able to do by the time they graduate. There's 10 of those that I will share in the next slide. Our accreditation is based on a closed loop process. And Jacob helped me define this. Closed loop is really another term for continuous improvement, which means we take feedback from industry, students, and faculty, we incorporate that feedback into the class, and then we assess whether the students actually learned what we thought they were learning. Our program mission is to transform lives by providing rigorous and applied education for our students. That word applied was put in there by the advisory board because we really want to teach you, as faculty, we really want to teach you, parentheses, students, an applied education where you can go out and know what production inventory management is, but you also know how to apply it to the inventory process. You can go out and know what project management is, but you can also apply it to an industry project. The general outcomes, which are really the belly of the accreditation study, or what you might hear referred to as the self-study, which is this big document your faculty have been working on. It's like a big, 400-page paper, is all based on our 10 general outcomes. And these 10 general outcomes were created by your faculty and then approved and externally validated by industry. Our advisory board has approved them, and then through our alumni surveys and through our employer surveys, they have approved them. And we've updated them. For example, we updated Goal Area 9, Professional Management, which used to say Positive Personal Habits. We updated, Goal Area 10 and others to include the word applied, because we're an applied management program, and it used to say that you only had to understand. Now we have to teach you how to apply. So these are the 10 things we want you to be able to do, students, and what industry thinks is important that you can do by the time you graduate. Communicate. Information technology skills, that's in your Operations Management 395 class. Science and technical skills. Your technical area competence, which is your 2-year degree. Economics and cost, total quality management, production inventory management, project management and leadership, professional management, and then global and cultural awareness. Therefore, for those of you who took Project Management 300 with me, that's why we did a global case study called the Channel Case Study, because I was trying to meet this goal area, as does Josh and Atif in different ways. This is more for the industry people. In the meeting, they're going to want to know some advisory board details. They're going to want to know, like, how often do you meet? We meet twice a year. Who meets? Well, we have some people from Minneapolis and from Fargo, Moorhead, and we meet via telepresence. They're going to want to know who the advisory board consists of: students, industry, faculty, administrators, and 2-year school people. They're going to want to know who member companies are. We have a long list of member companies, but here are some of our top 10, 12, 13 companies that are currently on the board. They're going to want to know if you know why and how you were selected to get on the board. And I cover that a little bit later in the questions, but those are some advisory board details for you. They're going to want to know that we have externally validated our program by making some of the changes that have been recommended by the advisory board and the survey process. And here's some examples of how we've done that. We've made co-curricular changes, which are program changes. We were told by our advisory board that we shouldn't have an off-campus program because we were too diluted. We were told we needed more strong, better descript advisory board laws. So Tom Fletcher, the current chair of the advisory board at that time, worked with the faculty to create advisory board bylaws, which included an exec model where we now have an executive vice president and chair who actually run the meeting. It now includes things like you have to commit to a 3-year term limit, but you can leave anytime after 3 years, but you don't have to, because we thought stability was more important than, continuous rotation. So we have advisory board laws. We changed our advising processes based on student feedback. Students filled out an exit survey, and one of the things they told us was that they had 6 advisors over the course of a 2-year time span, and they were confused. So we streamlined that process, and now you have 1 advisor. We also made changes to our long-term and short-term goals that the advisory board approved. So those are examples of co-curricular changes that we have made based on external validation. Then we made curricular changes where we asked the advisory board, students and employers on what we could do to offer better curriculum. And they told us we needed more soft skill classes. So we now offer Dragon Consulting and Dale Carnegie as electives. They told us we could change our science requirements. They didn't see it as that we had to limit our science requirements to just chemistry and physics, that we should open it up to other sciences that met the university requirements. They told us that safety was an important thing for certain people in operations management, but maybe not everybody, so move it to an elective. They told us to include more global, to change quality implementation to more quality management, to fix our production inventory management class because it was tanking, so we hired an industry professional. They told us to add more professional development, so we added a professional development class that now students need to take at the same time they're taking their internship or on-the-job training. And most importantly, they approved the general outcomes to be more applied in nature. So if asked, do you feel like you have a voice in the program? Students, you do through your exit surveys, and industry, you've had a voice through the board processes. You're probably wondering what example questions they might ask you, and frankly, I don't know. I haven't been in this meeting since 1998 when I was an industry board member prior to working here. But here's what I think they might ask you. They're going to want to know industry, how and why you were selected, and you were selected because you filled a niche on the board. We wanted a cross-representation of industry, so you might represent manufacturing, software, healthcare, big manufacturing, small manufacturing, service industry. You might represent a certain management level. We said we wanted a cross-section of, senior leaders to frontline new managers. So you might be a vice president, a director, a new manager, or an alumni that's just started working in your field. They're going to want to know if you know what your term limit is, and you committed to a 3-year minimum term, and you may have been on the board for 10 years. We are not asking you to leave the board unless you decide not to attend. They want to know if you approve the general outcomes, and you've looked at those multiple times. They want to know if you've had influence on the general outcomes, and yes, we added applied, changed quality, the other things I've talked about. They're going to want to know why you accept and endorse the program. They're going to want to know what our strengths and weaknesses are and any advice we have. Students, they're going to probably want to know what you think the strengths and weaknesses are. They're going to want to know if you know your course plan of study, and yes, you do through your DARS report, and yes, the degree audit is confusing, but that's why we require you to meet with your advisor every semester so we can sort that out. They're going to maybe want to know what advice you'd give the program to get better. They're going to maybe want to know why you decided to take this degree as opposed to a competitor degree at Bemidji State. They're going to want to know what the university has done. Has admissions, records, the library, student services, IT treated you well or not so well? And then what advice you would have. My most important piece of advice is that accreditation is in the spirit of continuous improvement, and we really want to get better. So feel free to tell them all the great things we're doing, and feel free to give them advice on how they can help us be better. Here's what you can expect on the actual day of the meeting. It'll be a 1-hour lunch meeting. You'll have industry and students in the meeting and dialed in, and you will have 3 people from the accrediting team there. You will have no faculty, administrators, or staff from MSUM. This is just a meeting with the accrediting team and the students in industry. The types of questions you'll be asked, we just covered, and you probably want to know what you need to wear. Students, you should wear what you wear to class, and if you're an online student, you should at least, not wear your pajamas. No, I'm teasing. But you should wear what you wear as a student. Industry professionals, I would say the same. Wear what you wear to work. The time and place, once again, is March 19th, Monday, 12 to 1. Be there around 11:15 or dialed in around 11:15. The location is the Center of Business, room 106. Dial-in information will be mailed out by Josh next week. And if the accrediting team is running late, just dial in or go in the room and make yourself at home. One of the things that Jacob wanted me to put on the slide, the student who was helping me with this, is that, is there anything I should or shouldn't say? Well, basically no, other than the fact, be professional, and this really isn't a venue to air a personal grievance. Please let me know, though, that grievance, because I would like to help you solve it, but this isn't the venue. And most importantly, this is the time to be honest about your experience. And then lastly, how will you know the meeting went well? Well, I will personally follow up with you in another video and/or invite you to our celebration. Thank you. You are critical to the success of this process, and I appreciate each and every one of you saying yes to being able to attend. Thank you.